This is great serious horror, with a director that appreciates what you do, monster-wise.
I think a lot of horror movies work on the idea that less is more. And if you don't see the monster, it's scarier. Whereas Christoph's really brave. He shows you the monsters and features them and you see them, and they're not gory, kind of ridiculous characters. There's an elegance to them as well.
The creature is designed to be scary as hell and very disturbing also.
They are slightly beautiful and completely revolting.
My favorite monsters ever have been in this movie. They're bizarre and creepy, and they look like they've come out of some sadomasochist handbook.
The monsters in Silent Hill sometimes are pathetic and strangely human.
They're based on almost nightmares.
Christoph's mantra right from the beginning was, I don't want disgusting, I want disturbing.
Disgusting and disturbing are very, very different. Disgusting and disturbing are this twisted human shape. It's not disgusting, but it's very, very disturbing.
But something you can't take your eyes off. He doesn't want people to turn away, he wants people to be entranced. Patrick's company was hired to do the creature side of the movie, which is approximately half the effects. And I was hired to do the makeup effects, and I'm also supervising Patrick's makeup on set, so I'm the on-set supervisor as well.
Okay, good.
The textures, whether they were slimy or dry or wet or crumbly or whatever. And the game was like the Bible.
A designer doesn't bring his vision to a movie, he brings the director's vision to the film.
It's amazing. I think it's amazing.
Development of Silent Hill with Christoph started before the Silent Hill project was there. Meaning, I got to know the man, what he was interested in, which made the process of developing the creature on this project very, very simple. One of the key words that Christoph told me at the beginning, he said those beings are made maybe of flesh, but plastic as well, real and artificial. All the creatures were designed based on that concept in mind. They are very real. There are humans in them, but somehow they come through like weird dolls moving on. And that's very, to me, very disturbing. There's always a sense of pain and suffering in a movie. Every one of those beings is suffering. Even Red Pyramid is suffering. Everybody is hurting. Screaming is another thing that Christoph wanted to see everywhere. He says he wants those things to scream all the time.
I'd like now to introduce you to my favorite character on set.
My personal favorite one is the armless character. Visually, I think that's my favorite monster.
Well, armless is a suit that covers the guy completely. But it's also a very light suit.
Getting into the costume, it's not a long process.
The armless character was just a two-piece costume that Patrick had designed. It was a pair of skin-tight silicone legs that were airbrushed in mottled skin tones and like a plastic foam rib cage. Over the top of that was stretched a big silicone condom that was about 4 feet long, which strapped onto the actor Michael.
Breathing is hard. If you're claustrophobic, like, you can't do it.
Oh, I'm breathing through the hole. Yeah, opening this.
And it comes with a mouthpiece with an air tube that goes through my bodysuit and out the back of my suit. So it's all like that.
Patrick had designed it so Michael could wear the costume. There would be a manifold built into the chest and a little kind of a vent and a hose that would be plugged into a big pressurized container full of black methocel, which is essentially food thickening agent mixed with water and black pigment. And on cue, we were able to spray this out of Michael's chest.
3, 2, 1, spray! Cut it!
He had a few little nicknames on set by the crew. My favorite one was Trojan Man. He looked like a big rubber condom walking around with a big hole in his chest that sprayed out acid.
The Grey Child, that was something totally created from scratch. The idea was having your skin sliding backward. I don't want the whole skull and jaws to be deformed. If this happens, you retain a face, a skeleton face here, just the skin is being pulled away, which is exactly the effect that Christoph wanted.
Grey Child was essentially a foam latex and silicone bodysuit, which Patrick had created, which completely covered Yvonne's body. Little feet appliances, which blended the suit down into her ankles, and hands and a head, which would be glued down over her body every day. That process, about 2.5 hours.
You need to speak really loud.
Really?
Yes.
Like this?
Yes.
Once they dress me, it has to get sealed, it has to get painted, there's all the different parts of it get put on, and when I watch the guys paint my feet, it's incredible. It's like getting body art. They painstakingly paint all this work, and it's so beautiful.
The commitment to staying in that character was really impressive.
Quite honestly, I didn't think I was going to survive.
Stand you up.
Patrick's team knew that I had this constant urgency to go to the bathroom. They specifically created a flap, so I have easy access to the bathroom all the time.
Excuse me,
The bathroom?
I have to go to the ladies' room.
All right.
There was a lot of excitement on set when the nurses came to set because they were en masse, and because there were so many women that looked exactly the same with no faces, it looked kind of like a pack of animals.
Those designs came from the game, and this idea of like having no face and just a scream. We decided to just build a couple of generic masks which had the mouth open, which later will be tweaked with CGI for expression and things like that.
I created the costumes and the hats of the nurses. Essentially, we took a generic body form and sculpted distressed, rotting, putrefying skin in a very thin layer over that surface. We brought in 20 girls, so I created 20 latex nurse costumes, which did up with zip ties and Velcro, because they had to be extremely tight on the girls' bodies.
And the people in effects promised me that they're going to make me one of those latex nurse outfits. I haven't received it yet, so I'm still waiting for that.
Very nice, very nice.
Roberto, the movement coordinator on the show, played the role of the janitor who is twisted into this tortuous shape, covered in crap and dirt, crawling across the floor with cockroaches coming out of his bum. So what we did was we took a cast of Roberto and we created two elements, which was a full-size artificial body of Roberto, and that was dressed into a set with barbed wire, so the actress would come in and pull something out of his mouth. That was one element. The other element was Roberto in full prosthetic makeup with a fake pair of legs strapped to his back, bent up over and tied to his head with artificial barbed wire. The tattered costume he was wearing was dressed over the seam.
Oh my God!
And give him a pair of optical green pants, which we call these Kermit pants.
I had green tights so that, of course, they could cut my legs off in post-production.
Essentially, you could shoot it from the side and from the front and from behind, and it would give the impression that Roberto had been bent double. The first day we shot this, and he's lying on the ground in all this dirty mud with this barbed wire wrapped around his head, and I just leaned in and whispered, "Just remember you wanted to do this." But Roberto was able to pull it off quite magnificently. Roberto was able to take another part in the movie, which was the role of the Red Pyramid.
The fact that it was a character that appeared in the game pretty clearly, and on top of that, it's a fantastic looking character. There was not much need to try to do something different. We had to find the right proportion that would still allow an actor to carry this for hours on set. So we worked with very, very light materials that are painted in such a way that they look extremely heavy, but bottom line, they were very light.
My prosthetics, the upper body is glued to my skin, so the skin doesn't breathe, but it's so soft that it's like second skin.
It was about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 part prosthetic, which was blended into his skin, and artwork by me and my team. And we also, apart from painting his chest, his arms, and his neck, we also had to paint his bum cheeks and his legs, because I didn't give him the option of having underwear. That process took about 2.5 to 3 hours every time Roberto played. Also, Wendy Partridge had created a leg extension, so he was just shy of 7 feet tall in the complete costume.
We really did come up with a very good 15-inch sole on this boot, and then with the costume coming back right down over the front of the feet, even though when you see him from behind it looks like skin and you don't know what it is, but he actually has a boot on that's 15-inch tall.
The boots have two metal things on the outside wrapped with a band that closes with Velcro to hold my ankles really strong, so it's nice and steady.
And not only is he 7 foot tall in the costume, he's also 25% bigger than all the other humans in the movie. Action! To accomplish this effect, most of the time, it was just camera angles. But when he had direct interaction, i.e. grabbing somebody by the bloody neck, we created a miniature dummy for that effect.
Okay, good.
I don't think I've had a good day at work unless I have to take an hour to wash my hands. With Roberto, with Yvonne, and with Michael, we couldn't have asked for a better bunch of people to play creatures. Because not only were they enthusiastic throughout the entire performance, throughout the entire show, they never complained once. They made the movie for me by the fact that they'd come in each and every day going, "Hey Paul, how's it going? Great, let's put this on, let's go to work."
I need some kind of attention here. It's not just about them.
The whole movie has been a blast. Every day you'd catch someone's eye and you'd just start laughing. This is why I got into the industry, to work on a big budget horror movie with a bunch of great people and do some cool work.